I don't consider Audio Surf to be a rhythm game either. But that's my definition, and a lot of people would disagree with me. Not to say that it's a bad game. Even games like Geometry Dash or whatever it's called, like you can have Geometry Dash. There was like a puzzle game called Lumine or something. There was a what else? Audio Surf is a good example. Beat Hazard. There are a lot of games similar to these. What is common amongst them is that they do have music in the background. They have a lot of things that are driven by the music, but one, you don't actually need to have a sense of rhythm to succeed in the game. And two, the actions that you do are not actually something that are going to be judged based on that timing. And that is something that I feel is central to rhythm games. If you take rhythm games like DDR, like Poppin' Music, like Beatmania, like Jubeat Prop, like Groove Coaster, like Guitar Hero, like Stepmania, like Osu, all of these games have a very specific way of handling timing and rhythm in a way that those other games that I mentioned don't at all. And another thing that's very common for these, so, and a lot of things that these rhythm games have in common is that, I don't know how to describe it. It's more like mechanical and very judged based on exactly what you press and do, right? Need to have a sense of rhythm, then Crypt and Necrodancer. That one's a bit borderline. I'm not sure. I feel like the, that's a very, 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 very light version of a rhythm game, because the thing that you need to do to the beat of the music is pretty much the same all the time. You don't get like more difficult patterns. You don't get like peaks and valleys in the patterns that you press. The density of the pattern that you press is consistent. It's just, you know, always fully locked into the beat of the music, and there's no musical level assigned in terms of what notes you're pressing or with what timing you press them. It's always the same timing, the same interval, the same spacing. At least during the first 3 levels. I never finished the game, but so given that, it's more like you press things to the beat, sure, but the level design is not in the music and it's not in the timing in and of itself. So that's why that's kind of where I personally draw the line for rhythm games, because I think just DDR is so far off from Necrodancer in so many ways. Because if you consider like what a skilled player in Necrodancer is doing versus what a skilled player in DDR is doing, the thing that you're learning is completely different. They're like miles apart, right? Yeah, because in DDR, you're actually learning how to react to and read and do different densities and variations within these musical patterns, and you temporally have a very different challenge. But in Necrodancer, if you want to get really good at Necrodancer, learning how to do things to the beat is like the most shallow level. And if you want to go deeper in Necrodancer, that's not going to be about timing. It's not going to be about listening to the music and doing things to other, divisions of notes, like 16th notes or 8th notes or whatever. It would be about something else. It would be about pathing. It would be about planning ahead. It would be about taking the best route and knowing how your enemies react to things, right? So I feel like these things are very, very different. But again, drawing lines between genres tends to be kind of arbitrary regardless. I just personally feel like calling Necrodancer a rhythm game is weird to me. Calling Audio Surf a rhythm game is weird to me. Calling Beat Hazard a rhythm game is also weird to me. Like, all of these games, like, none of them have that kind of timing challenge that that most quote-unquote arcade rhythm games have, especially the all of the Japanese ones, right? So I feel like that there's a very stark divide between those. But it depends on, it depends on what you put emphasis on. Like, if you consider a rhythm game to be a game where music is happening and things are happening time to the beat, then a lot of things are rhythm games. But that's not where I want to draw the line, because I don't think that line is useful. Because if you are someone who likes the arcade rhythm games, then Necrodancer and Beat Hazard and all of these games are not gonna, scratch the same itch, right? So yeah. That was a long rant. I'm sorry. But that's just my view. And I could be wrong. This is just my elitist way of looking at rhythm games.